It is time for your favorite Android podcast from the crew of blindandroidusers.com. Kick back and enjoy another fine episode from these Google fanboys as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here are your hosts.
Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Blind Android Users podcast, being recorded on the 10th of April 2021. I'm Ed Green and I'm joined by my co-hosts Warren Carr, Austin Pinto and Mariam Mohsen. We have our usual announcements section from Austin. Then we're going to move on to talk about editing in our Android Basics section. We'll then have the next episode in our series on the commentary screen reader from Mariam. Following that, in the In Focus section, we'll have our next episode on ROMing, where Austin shows us how to install a custom ROM onto a single partition device. The app of the week this week is a demonstration of Turbo Alarm brought to us by Karine Kiwan. And Karine also provides us our Android journey. How are we all this week?
I am great. It's been a busy week, but actually here in Egypt we have special months coming up. So yeah, things are great here. Amazing.
Excellent. How are you boys?
It is wonderful here in the state of Washington. This time of year, though, we have those great winds, and oh my gosh, my whole pond is just filled up with blossoms from my plum trees and all that. It's just atrocious.
Oh, sounds like you've got some cleaning out to do at some point.
Yeah.
How are you, Austin?
I am very good, and we are entering in lockdown 2.0 again. Our state is just exploding with COVID cases. So it's lockdown time. Not a full lockdown, but a partial lockdown now. But there'll be a full lockdown, I think. But things are good. Easter was good. I hope everyone had a good Easter.
Yeah, we're just coming out of our lockdown. Well, the next phase of it, not fully open, but shops can reopen on Monday and pubs and restaurants can start seating people outside. So we're sort of gradually moving slightly the other way. Austin, can I hand over to you to start our announcement section this week?
This week, we don't have much announcements, but we have two big announcements. The first announcement is that we are featured in the newly created podcast directory of Top Tech Tidbits. We had to submit a form and then we got featured in that. And we are very happy to be associated with them. And we thank them for featuring us every week in their newsletter. The second announcement is there is a feast of content on our YouTube channel. There are about nearly 100 videos, and all the episodes, most of the episodes have been cut into small sections and uploaded. So you can go to YouTube and check us out there by searching blind space Android users. That is one word, and you'll get all the videos, and there's a whole lot of content there. So that is it from the announcement section this week.
Thanks, Austin. And I know that in the news, one Android manufacturer has taken its final bow, hasn't it, Warren?
Indeed, and that would be our friend LG. And, you know, we've talked about this probably like maybe in episode 5, all the rumors back then. Well, that thing finally came to a head back. Was that last Monday? Yeah, was that the 4th or the 5th, one of those. So Monday was the 5th, right? That was when LG officially announced that they were getting out of the phone business. So we're talking about LG, and LG is one of those phone manufacturers in Android that has brought a lot of innovations to the Android land. And we start by reflecting on the fact that LG was the very first company that brought us the capacitive touch, and it wasn't Apple. So with the Prada back in 2006, and that's Prada, LG introduced those 3 buttons at the bottom. You think of your home key, your back key, your recent files or recent apps, the touchscreen, that navigational thing was introduced by LG, not by Apple. And that was back in 2006. The next thing that LG gave us was the curved display, the OLED curved display with the LG G Flex in 2014. And so all of these curved displays that we have, is thanks to LG. The next one is the modular phone, and of course, that was with the G5 back in 2016. This was something that LG called the, um, the magic slot. Does anyone remember that? We had that, and so that was one of LG's innovations that didn't go anywhere. The next one is the ultra wide camera. And when you think of an ultra wide camera, please think of LG. And LG had that in the G5 as well in 2016. So LG also has a front facing wide camera angle also on the selfie. So they are just all over the place. These are the people that we need to be thankful for some of these technologies that we enjoy today. And the next one is the quad DAC, most especially for people that like music. Audiophiles will have LG to be thankful for because they're the ones that introduced that on their phone, on that LG back in 2016 as well. The next thing we have is a dual screen. So the dual screen, began with LG again, and this time with the G8X. And that was back in 2019, and things like the V60 will have the same idea, and this is all from LG. And the last but not the least is going to be the swivel display with the LG wings that was introduced in 2020. And those would be some of the things that we will always be thankful to LG for.
Thanks, Warren. I'll remember LG with a degree of affection because they made my first Android phones, as I think mentioned when I did my Android journey several episodes back, and that was the Nexus 4. Mine was one of the LG Nexus phones. And I was also interested that LG tried to introduce an innovation where they included a DAB, digital audio broadcasting radio, in one of their phones, which unfortunately I never got to try, but that's largely overtaking analog radio here in the UK. And it would have been interesting to know whether that was accessible, but unfortunately it doesn't look as though that was a massive seller, and it's not something that other manufacturers have sought to adopt since. Mariam Mohsen, have you got feelings for LG?
So for me, I have never used an LG phone. Although I was planning on, to be honest, because I really I have seen Samsung phones and Huawei and Honor and things like that, but I've never tried an LG phone. And they actually got out of the phone business before I had the chance. But from what I've heard about them, they're a great company that actually is providing Android phones. So I definitely wish them a good luck with the other things that they are going.
Thanks, Mariam. Austin, what about you?
I think that the other companies should have adopted the modular phone, and that would have been nice. And we could replace our processors, RAM, battery, whatever we wanted with the phone. That was good innovation. Also, what LG did before going is that two things. They launched the V70, and they also said that they will give 3 years of OS updates to their users.
Existing
Warren,
phones?
yeah, Warren has got lots of things to say about that.
Oh, don't go down that road, because when we talk about LG's updatability, to me, it's all a joke. Now, LG, why didn't you do this? I mean, these are the people that started by saying, hey, we're going to dedicate a department solely just for the OS updates and all of that. I think that was either back in 2017 or back in 2018. We saw nothing that came out of that. And now that you are out of the business, this last Friday, you say, oh, we're going to make sure we give people a 3-year support, OS updates. Who is going to buy that? Are you going to buy that? They're trying to sell their phones. And honestly, if I'm going to buy one of LG's phones, I'm going to buy it because just of nostalgia or something like that, or say, hey, I have an LG. By the way, I have an old LG sitting somewhere here, but I would like to get something maybe like the V60 if it's going to be like, El Cheapo. You guys know me. I'm not gonna damn no $500. If it's $200, I get it for $200, or even better, for 100 plus. Then I definitely will get an LG phone like the V60 and keep it for memorabilia, whatever the case may be. But not because LG says they're going to be updating it. I don't believe LG for a penny.
Since when they've been in the business? Because I'm really curious.
Well, LG has been doing phones for a long time, just like, Samsung, back to, like I know the first LG phone that I had was maybe back in 2004 or maybe
Oh,
2003. But, these are phones that were on their own, back in the flip phone days. And these are phones that didn't have screen readers or anything like
mm,
that. But I remember that phone, having limited speech output, so I'm able to hear things, but I couldn't read like messages and things like that. But the menus, especially, I could go through those menus using my speech or the little speech that was built in there.
yeah, interesting.
I think I agree with you, Warren. I don't know if I'd take the promise of a manufacturer who's exiting the business that they're going to update their phones for 3 years altogether seriously. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, LG will do that. But you worry, don't you, about a drift in focus away from that business? But yeah, sorry to see LG exit the market because it's one fewer choice, isn't it? Android Basics this week is all about editing. How do you manipulate text on Android phones to best effect? Warren, do you want to kick this one off?
This is a very important part of our Android basic segments. And, you know, when you install or when you set up your Android device, and we talk about keyboards and things like that. Now, what good is a keyboard if you're not going to be writing something and editing something? Now, here's the problem that we have. I know that people have been talking about the fact that they don't like the behavior of the keyboard or Gboard with the update whereby now we could have double tap and all of that, and in the process of doing that, some of these things kind of got messed up a little bit, most especially whereby if one is editing an article or editing or whatever, you're in an edit field and then you move to the keyboard and then the edit doesn't have a focus on the editing box. And this is one of the things that people have been talking about. So let's talk about that today and show people how we can go about doing this editing without a headache. So I want to bring up, by the way, today I'm using the Acapella TTS. For those of you who like Acapella, Miss Heather is driving my car today.
Scanning face 9:26 a.m. Device unlocked.
Uh,
Pixel launcher.
there's
Folder.
that girl.
Messaging. 4 or more items.
Okay, so now I'm going to go into something like Google Keep and try to show how we do editing, especially with Gboard. And I believe that with other keyboards as well, it would be the same thing. But since we are focusing on Gboard here and editing, let me do that. Open Keep Notes.
Keep notes. New list.
Okay, so my Keep Notes is up. And what I'm going to do
New drawing note.
is that I'm going
New
to...
audio note. New text note. Note opened. Showing English, US, QWERTY, keyboard.
So here I am, and here's what we're talking about. I'm going to try to kind of do a little dictation here.
Capital P, board, voice input.
Hello, and welcome to the Blind Android Users Podcast for episode 18, period, new paragraph. Today is April 10, comma, 2021, period.
Space.
Okay,
Delete. Space deleted. Hello and welcome to the Blind Android Users Podcast for episode 18. Today is April 10th, 2021. Edit box, editing, note for note body, enlist, keep notes.
so I am in the edit field. Now, if I decide to say, hey, I want to go by character or word by word or something like that, and I
Characters.
could use either the gesture navigation,
Period. 1. 1.
or I can use the volume keys.
1.
I'm doing
1. Period. End of field.
so if you are hitting the up volume, you are going toward the right, and you're hitting the down volume, you're going backwards.
Period. 1. 2. 0. 2. Space.
Now let me go to words.
Speech rate.
Whoop, nah, my mistake there.
Characters. Words.
Okay, so I'm going to go backwards.
2021. 2021, 10th April is today, 18.
Okay, so here's where the problem comes. The problem comes most especially, let's say I go to the end of this document.
18
I want to add something.
is April 10th, 2021.
Okay, and I am at the end and I want to add something. Let me
Characters,
go to,
period, end of field,
so
space,
I hit space.
audit list, board, 2021.
Now that I hit space, what has happened is that now my focus has moved to the keyboard. If I try to use my gesture, like I'm in character mode now, if I'm in character mode now and I want to use that gesture to go back to the space that I just gave, and I swipe up with one finger,
E, echo,
it says E. And if I use my volume key,
mute,
see what I'm doing?
music volume set to 25%.
It's not going to work because my focus is now on the keyboard and it's not on the edit field. And this has been the headache for most, and a lot of people don't understand that, and therefore it's a very frustrating thing. So in order for me to go back to the edit field to where I could now interact with what I have in the edit field, I have to move my finger to where my edit box is. So
Caps set redo button. Hello and welcome to the Blind Android Users
okay, so now that I am now in my edit field,
space,
see, I can
period,
now move
1, 2, 0
with no headaches at all. Now, if I touch the keyboard, however,
B N.
I cannot,
Set redo
I
button.
wouldn't be able to.
Action back.
So you see,
R T Y
if I,
U I
all I'm doing
O
is moving
Oscar.
through the keyboard. And that is how it works. So in order for you to be able to enjoy your keyboard, you want to make sure that when you want to edit something and you are needing to make that correction after you've typed it, you want to go back to the edit field, touch that edit field, and make sure that you are back in that edit field, or else you would simply be interacting with the keyboard and not with the edit field. And the reason why is because some people wanted the double tap to type and things like that. And so Google kind of implemented it in a halfway manner, if you ask me, because in order to be able to do that double tapping, you must have first typed that very first one using the lift to type, and then from there you can swipe to any key and double tap. And that would be how we do editing with the Gboard. And of course, you can always bring up the menu, and where you can do things like selection menu and things like, copying and things like that. That also is found in your editing. Like
Talkback menu.
if I bring back my talkback menu,
Read from next item. Read from navigation. Talkback menu. Audit list.
you see the reason why I'm not seeing the
Keep note.
whatever. Let me go back to the edit field.
Hello and welcome to
Okay, now if I bring up my talkback menu,
Talkback menu. Editing options.
we got editing
Navigation.
option.
Read from top. Navigation. Editing options. Editing options. Move cursor to beginning in list.
So we got move cursor to the beginning,
Move cursor to end.
move cursor to end.
Select all.
There's a select all,
Start or end selection mode.
start or end selection mode,
Cancel button.
and
Audit
then
list.
there's a
Cancel.
cancel. So if I want to move to the end of this thing I just wrote,
Move editing options. Move cursor to beginning. And move cursor to end. End of field.
there's my
Oscar.
end of field. And then, of course, I could go back to that and move back to the beginning of the document if that's what I want. Or if I want to start, selection mode, I could go in there and do the selection mode. Now, the reason why I'm not doing the 3-finger tap or whatever to do the editing, because you can use those to do that too and invoke all of that. But since most of the phones out there don't have that feature or that have that multi-finger support, it is important that we show people where to go to find that editing feature. And you can also assign how you invoke those editing feature. For instance, you can go to your talkback and choose how you invoke the selection mode or the editing mode. And that would be all that there is about editing with Android and Gboard.
Thanks, Warren. I agree with you for what it's worth about double tapping. If Google want double tapping, they should have it as an alternative behavior to swipe, lift to type, rather than trying to make lift to type exhibit double tapping behavior through swiping. Because as you say, with that, then obviously the up and down navigation is going to take you through the keyboard, not the edit field. I'm not sure that's massively helpful. I noticed when you were in the menu and the edit options, there were no cut and copy and paste options. Is that because the menu is context sensitive? So if you'd selected some text, would we have seen cut and copy and paste and all the rest of it?
Exactly. So if I had selected anything, let's just do that for
Talkback menu.
giggles, shall we?
Read from top. Navigation. Talkback menu. Audit list.
Oh, I was out of
Keep
my.
notes.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay. So let's
Talkback
try
menu.
to.
Navigation. Editing options. Editing option. Edit. Move cursor
So
to
I'm
beginning.
gonna just
In
say
list.
select all.
Move cursor to end. Select all. Select the text. Hello and welcome to the blind Android
Okay.
users. Talkback menu.
Now,
Read from top. Navigation. Talkback menu. Audit list. Read from top. Navigation. Talkback menu. Audit list.
hey, what's going on
Talkback
here?
menu.
Hang on.
Keep notes.
It's showing me. Let's see here.
Talkback menu. Navigation. Editing options. Editing options. Move cursor. Cut.
That's a cut.
Copy.
That's a copy.
Select all.
And already selected all, so I cannot.
Start or end selection mode. Cancel.
Yeah.
Button.
So once you
Keep note.
select something, and since we're talking about that part, there's something that I wanted to talk about earlier when we were doing keyboards last week, and I hope to God this doesn't make this thing a little lengthy, but it has to do with that editing found on the Gboard itself, just in case someone would rather use that. My only problem with that is that Google Gboard doesn't read that. So for instance, in the toolbars above your keyboard in Gboard, if you go to more features or open more features, let me see.
More action. Button. Keep voice input. More features. More features opened.
When you go to more features, what we're looking for is to find one that says
Redo. Button. Disabled. More text editing.
text editing.
Showing text editing.
When you tap on that text editing, there's something here that says selection mode.
Cursor up. Close select mode.
Now,
Cursor right.
if I do
Cursor right.
cursor right or cursor
Cursor
up,
right. Cursor up. Close select mode.
okay, so I close the selection mode. Here's the problem.
Cursor right. Open select mode. Cursor left. Space. Cursor down.
You can
Space. End of field.
you can hear that when I do cursor down or cursor up, let's
Cursor up. Today is April 10th, 2R021.
go up.
Open select cursor up. New line.
Cursor up.
Cursor up. Blind Android Users Podcast for episode 18.
So you hear I can read using the up or down cursors or left or
Paste.
or
Disabled
right.
because empty editor. Delete. Move cursor to the head.
Now move cursor to the head. That means move to top of file.
Hello and welcome to the beginning of field.
Okay. And
Copy. Disabled
so
because cursor right. Open select mode.
if I tap on
Close select mode.
open selection mode, ideally what is going on here is that if I go right arrow or if I go down arrow, whatever the case may be, I would be selecting the stuff. But
Paste. Disable cursor right.
see, I'm moving right,
Cursor right.
right,
Cursor right.
right,
Cursor right.
right,
Cursor right.
right.
Cursor right.
And I believe
Paste.
that
Disabled because cursor right.
that I'm selecting things, but it's not telling me
Cursor right.
what I'm doing, what I'm selecting.
Copy.
See, now I can copy. And so let's say I go
Showing English,
somewhere
US, Word.
and paste it. Now, the problem is that it wouldn't, it didn't read what I was selecting. But if it were Microsoft Word and I invoke that selection mode on the Gboard, whatever I'm selecting would be verbalized. And so Google needs to go and figure out how it is that it works in Microsoft Word,
Pixel
but
launch.
not on any of the other editing
Apps
applications.
list.
So that's what I want to show. You could do it that way, but what good is it if you're not able to hear what you are selecting? And by the way, I think the technical keyboard does that well too, so something to try.
I think for the avoidance of doubt, it's worth pointing out, because we didn't actually show it, that if you turn on selection mode within the Talkback edit options menu, that will read what you're selecting, won't it? So you don't have to use the Gboard method if you don't want to.
Yeah, it would. But it would be good that we have it also available on Gboard
Sure.
for times that you don't have to go through the Talkback editing features.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
One other question from me before I ask Mariam to talk about commentary editing is, what happens if I want to take some text from somewhere else and put it in an edit field? Maybe someone said something lovely in a comment about Austin on our podcast, and I want to copy that from Chrome to email to him in case he hasn't seen it. Can I do that?
So the problem that we have with Talkback, and this has been an ongoing battle, and that battle has to do with the fact that we are not able to do a selective copying or selective selection. Let me use those words back to back. Selective selection. We can't do that on Talkback without the importation or employment of some other third-party app. So if I want to copy some lovely comment made about Austin there and how great Austin is and all of that, and it's on our website, blindandroidusers.com, what I would have to do is to long press and simply find where it says select all and select all of that, and then go paste it in an editor and be able to then from there invoke my selection mode or whatever, and delete the portions that I don't want. Besides that, though, we can't do selective selection on Android using Talkback on a web page. That's been the major pain in our behinds.
Thanks, Warren. Mariam, I don't know if you want to talk about or show, up to you really, how editing works in commentary, because I think it's a little bit different.
Oh yeah, okay.
Folder.
So we will open up Google Keep as well.
Folder. Samsung.
See,
Folder.
fair game.
Folder opened. Play music. Google Keep Photos. Keep Notes. Keep Notes. New text note button. Note opened. Showing.
So here in CSR, I guess it's much more customizable. There are a lot of ways to copy. The main one that we could use is that, for instance, let me
Action. Add button. Editor scroll. No text.
type something in this edit field. Like hello.
H cap E he L L O hello.
So we do have a really cute hello. So if we want to copy, what we do is
K L.
So this is the same thing that's happened with Warren when he said about the focus, that actually it comes back to, in the D word, the focus comes back to the keyboard. So we'd need to,
Hello text box.
here's the text box. So if we want to copy, we actually have explained this, how to get this element. We could open the action menu through up and right.
Action menu.
And we will find
Clean the currently focused text box.
clean the currently focused text box. That's very important. So in Talkback, it's pretty the same if you select all and then delete. But now if you hit this, it will directly delete.
Selection menu.
That's another way to copy. We'll talk about it shortly.
Copy.
We do have copy.
Showing recently copied content as candidate.
So it's copied, and Gboard has actually announced. The other thing that you could do regarding copying is that we do have here
Hello text.
A really cute edit box. So we'd open the action menu again.
Action menu. Action. Selection menu.
We'll go to the selection menu.
Text selection. Text hello unchecked. Select all button.
So here it shows you, if you have a thing that's written, it shows you as words, and you can select those words as checkboxes. And then you would find
Hello. Select all button.
select all,
Cancel button.
cancel,
Copy button.
and copy, which is, in my opinion, pretty amazing. Also,
Cancel button.
if you have set up your rotor, as we actually have mentioned in the last episode of CSR, if you swipe up,
Speech
we
rate.
find speech rate
Copy.
and copy. Here, if we swipe left, it would say,
Showing recently copied content as candidate.
so it's copied. It would usually say message copied. If we actually swipe to the left, it would say,
Showing recently copied content as candidate.
it's supposed to say text appended. Text appended means that it added the thing that you wanted to copy to the thing that you already had in your clipboard. So, which is, in my opinion, pretty amazing. Also, another thing that I would like to mention here, the copy doesn't care what the screen reader has pronounced lastly. What CSR cares about is what the cursor is focused on. So for instance, if you are focused on a certain word that you want to copy, and then you got a new notification and you copied, it will copy the thing that you're focused on. It wouldn't copy the new notification. No matter where you are, like, it doesn't matter if you're in an edit box or if you're in a web page or anything like that. So also, I'd like to mention that you can find the append copy also in the action menu. It's there, and there's a really other cool way to copy.
Speed default.
So if you want to copy paragraph by paragraph,
Back button. Showing English. English was
so
40. Edited yesterday. 12.
we have here, it's a text. So what you want to do is open the main menu, which is down and right
Menu.
menu.
Menu. Navigation menu.
You'll find something called navigation menu.
Navigation menu sentence.
So here you could actually navigate by sentences, words, paragraphs.
Cancel. Edit button.
There's edit,
All button. Sentence
all
button.
sentences,
Char button. Paragraph button.
paragraph.
Paragraph.
So here you have the paragraphs in a menu dedicated just to do what you want. You can also edit and things like that. So here you can copy.
Space.
That's Arabic, so I'm sorry. So okay, this is the first.
Copy.
So we could copy the normal way.
Message copied.
Message copied.
Speed default.
We swipe to the right.
Space.
So, and we
Speed copy.
append, for instance,
Text appended.
it's already copied. So that's what I really love. That's the menus. You can open a certain menu that's just dedicated, and the screen reader you can copy from. Also, if you want to copy word by word, you have this ability. And another thing that I have actually found out, if you want to append copy in the selection menu, which works with checkboxes things, you can actually append copy and copy without needing to, check boxes, and then I'll show you. So
Speech default.
we have here,
Space.
we'll open the selection menu.
Action menu. Action. Selection menu. Navigation menu unchecked.
This is a word.
Check. Unchecked. Checked.
So if you notice, it says unchecked and unchecked, unchecked. So here, that's a really cool thing as well. If you copy it
Checked.
the normal way,
Speech copy. Message copied. Speech
and then
default. Check. Speech copy. Text appended.
so you actually remember the thing that's called checked, 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 checked. Here, CSR doesn't copy things like if it says recent button, it won't copy recent button. It will just copy the name of the button. And I don't think that happens in Talkback, because Talkback copies the last pronounced thing. Here, CSR just copies the actual thing without any additional stuff.
Thanks, Mariam. 2 questions for you from me
Yes.
then. When you were copying subsequent items, they were appending to the clipboard and being added onto what was already there. If I don't want that to happen, can I overwrite the clipboard and just copy the new thing. Maybe I copy something and decided I didn't want it. Can I just have the second thing copy and overwrite
Yes.
the first one?
Yes.
Excellent. That's good. And so I'll ask you the question I asked Warren. Obviously, Warren's had to select the entirety of the website to send Austin the nice comment, and has spent an hour deleting all the top bit on the website and the bottom bit on the website in his editor to ensure that the comment is just left. Someone's posted a comment saying Ed needs to get fired, and you want to send that to me. Will CSR let you copy text that isn't currently in an edit box? Say text.
Yes.
Or
It will
website
copy
more
anything
easily?
that's not in an edit box. It doesn't care where you are. It just copies what you want.
Excellent. So I think I'll close this section by asking Warren what he thinks about CSR's text manipulation.
No, actually, I like that. And you know what? I think they copy a lot of things from the universal copy, which you can also install on your Android phone and use it with your TalkBack, and also has the appending features as well. So,
Yeah.
you could always use universal copy if you don't want to use CSR like me, who doesn't want to use CSR. Now, the only downfall of CSR is, of course, if I reset my phone, you're not going to have it. So, great as
Because
it may sound,
that's
there's a
because Google is
huge limitation.
Google is the main thing. They can't actually make this as a primary screen reader for devices, since Google was the main system. So I don't think that I can do that.
Yeah, so I mean, I like the stuff. Like I said, it is fine, and I'll give it, that props for that. I think that's beautiful. Yet it does has its limitations. Does have its limitations, just like
Exactly.
anything else. And I think it'll get better and better. And the most important thing is that at least we have that on Android, and so you could have
Right.
them running side by side with TalkBack. And if you're needing to copy things on the website that you want to be able to selectively select, then use
Exactly.
CSR instead of copying everything and go spend your time editing with TalkBack.
Yes, and just wanted to point something out also. Our goal is just to introduce the listeners to every different thing so that they can decide actually what they want to use. So that's just our goal for, from this podcast, I think.
And that
I have
would
to
be my fight with the lady.
I have to confess, my goal is to stir things between Mariam and Warren. I'm much more parochial about this, but I applaud your more laudable goal. But I've had my fun now, and I've done my stirring. Now we feature the second episode in our series, looking more in depth at the commentary screen reader. Over to you, Mariam.
Commentary screen reader, or the Chinese screen reader, has gotten really popular among blinds and visually impaired recently. And here, on the Blind Android Users podcast, we will have a series of episodes in which we will talk about how to use the screen reader and how to get the best out of it. Hello everyone, and welcome to the second episode of CSR's Basics. So, in the last episode, we actually have mentioned what things you have to know before installing CSR, or if you're thinking of getting CSR, what you should know. The other thing that I actually forgot to mention last week, that actually the premium version of CSR does have another additional feature, which is called Recognition Engine, which actually does recognize what's on your screen and tells it if you have text or anything like that, or thing that's not read, the screen reader will recognize it for you, and that's included in the premium version of CSR. So now what we are planning to do is actually I have installed CSR for the first time. What should I do? So we will actually know what exactly things we should do and settings we should configure. At first, I'd like to say that there are a couple ways to configure your settings. The first one is that you can use TalkBack in configuring settings if you actually prefer that and you don't prefer turning the screen reader on first. And the second way is you can actually turn the screen reader on, and then you could do your settings. So here I haven't turned it on yet. It's pretty much the same. So I'm gonna go to settings, to accessibility.
Accessibility voice assistant. Web audio.
Yes.
Assistant menu. Accessibility.
So accessibility this is different on every single phone. Here I did, like on Samsung phone, I do have it in settings without needing to go anywhere else. But some phones do have it in system, and some in general management. So it's really, really different. But I think that on Samsung phones, it could be the same. So from here, we would go to
Installed services. Talkback and 5 services.
installed services. Here you could have Talkback and any screen reader you could have.
Installed services. Commentary screen reader off.
So we go to CSR.
Commentary screen reader. Navigator. Commentary screen reader off. Switch.
It's off. So at first,
Commentary settings.
we could go to settings.
Commentary screen reader. Commentary screen reader. Welcome to Commentary Screen Reader. Welcome to Commentary Screen Reader. The best Android screen reading software. Choose one of the 3 options. Setup wizard lets you set up basic settings to help get you started quickly. Click on view permissions to read about various permissions and exit to leave the wizard.
So here we have 3 options as it says.
Welcome to Commentary Screen Reader. Configuration wizard button.
Configuration wizard,
Permission description button.
permission description,
Exit button.
and exit. So configuration wizard, the settings for CSR, and permission, it's the permission that screen reader does need to have before using it. And it definitely improves everything, like microphone, because it does have voice commands and things like that. So we'll go for permissions first. That's what I do prefer, and that's what I do actually.
Permission description button. Permission description. Setting included permission description. Setting included manual for further details. Configuration wizard button.
So you can actually read the manual for details.
Exit button. Privacy policy button. Permission description. Setting included manual for further details.
Okay.
Configuration wizard button. Check permissions. Click check permissions.
We'll check permissions if we press on configuration.
Click next to grant basic permissions or cancel to exit. Exit button. Cancel button. Next step button.
Next.
Allow commentary screen reader to make and manage phone calls.
Allow CSR to make and manage phone calls. This is for answering and calling and things like that. So we'll hit allow.
Allow button.
We do have.
Allow commentary screen reader to access photos, media, and files on your device.
That's for downloading things, because you could download sound themes from the cloud. You could download extensions and plugins, and we would know about that in more details in our upcoming episodes. So I tell yes.
Allow button. Use left right swipes to navigate. Commentary screen reader supports various Use left right swipes to navigate.
So this is very important.
Commentary screen reader supports various navigation modes. The default one is to use the up and down swipe gestures as the default movement. Gestures. However, if you are used to swiping left and right for movement, you can set it here too. Swipe left now to use the default gesture set, or swipe right to use the alternative gesture set.
Okay, so here is very important. Why? Because as we know, in Talkback, we swipe left, we get the previous item, and if we swiped right, we get the next item. But I know also some people who use up to get the previous item and down to get the next item. So here it asks you if we want to use which one of them. And that's very important, because when we will go to set the rotor up, we would need this. So for me,
using the alternative gesture theme button.
I definitely would use
using the default gesture theme button.
The
using the
left and right swiping.
Using the alternative gesture theme button.
The alternative, because that's what I do prefer.
Read usage hints. Usage hints can help a novice user familiarize themselves with the usage of the screen reader. If this is your first time using your mobile phone, we recommend to enable this option for a seamless experience. However, if you are an experienced mobile user, we recommend turning this option off for more concise experience.
Okay, so usage hints. Usage hints mean when you are focused on item. So it says double tap to activate, double tap and hold to get more options, or anything like that. So if you are a beginner, I definitely do recommend turning that on, because it's really important and it definitely would help you if you're still learning gestures and things like that.
Read the list range. Reading the index of the currently focused element on the list might help you orient better in the length and your current position in the list. However, the read prompts will be longer and some people might find it difficult or disturbing.
So this one actually, what it means is that when you're in the list, it tells you columns and rows and things like that. It's also really important if you want to know exactly where you are. For me, I don't use it.
Exit button. Usage hints will not be read button.
So I will
usage hints will not be read button.
Usage hints won't be read.
Read notifications from the notifications panel. Reading notification will allow the screen reader to read incoming notifications. Turn this option on in order to have all notifications read. If you do not want to be disturbed, we recommend turning this option off.
So here, It means that the screen reader would read every single notification you would get. And here I would like to mention something. In Talkback, we actually know that if the media is playing, Talkback doesn't announce any incoming notifications, but here, Gcho or CSR doesn't actually care.
Reading notification. We'll turn this option on in order to have all notifications read. Notifications will be read button.
Definitely would turn that on because I want my notifications to be read.
Use a single TTS engine. Select if you want to use two TTS engines for reading. The first one will be used for reading main information like the current focus and other very important things. The second engine will be used to read notification and any other. Has important messages like the bubbles.
Okay, this one is very important as well. So here in CSR, we do have, we can use single TTS or we can use two TTS at the same time. But I actually thought that this feature is for free users, but apparently it's for premium users. So we can't use this unless we do have the premium subscription. And the other TTS, which is called the secondary TTS, it's used for reading notifications and volume prompts if you're turning volume down and up, and some other stuff as well. So that could be helpful. I don't use it as much, so
A single TTS engine will be used button.
I will say single TTS.
The setup is complete. You can set common restart setup wizard.
So this is completed apparently.
You can set common restart setup wizard. Gesture help button. Help screen button.
We do have the gesture help, which helps you using gestures if you want. We do have help.
Gesture help screen button.
Help screen, which is similar to the one in Talkback.
OK button.
And we do have OK, so press OK.
Commentary screen reader. Open commentary screen reader about page. Open startup settings. Check the notification permissions. Check battery optimization permissions for proper functioning of the program.
So this one is very important because if you do have battery optimization, sometimes some features won't work.
Check the status of permissions used for the program's loading windows. Check permissions. Configuration wizard.
There's a check permissions.
Commentary screen reader.
Configuration,
Text box.
which we actually
Default.
did.
Open commentary screen reader about page. Open startups. Open commentary screen reader. Configuration wizard.
So we'll go back. We'll see now how to set the rotor because I know that all of us use the rotor. At first, what rotor means? Rotor means it's similar to the one in Talkback, like when you swipe up and down, it actually tells you characters, words, paragraphs, lines, and things like that. But here in Gcho, it's much more interesting, I tell you.
Commentary screen reader. 20,210,400. Email 9460492. General settings.
Here we do have the main window of CSR when you open the settings. So at first, I want you to know, we won't go in details into settings because we'll explain this in next episodes, but I want to tell you what each setting is about.
Email 94 general settings. Email 946049229 at qq.com button.
Oh, see, this email, that's the one I've mentioned in the last episode when I talked about that you can actually reach the developer and ask for any help or even send your feedback. Or if you do have any issue, he could definitely help you.
20,210,401.
This number is the version of CSR.
Email general settings.
We have general settings,
TTS settings.
TTS settings, which does have, TTS volume, speed, and things like that.
Feedback settings.
Feedback settings, which is related to audible feedback, vibration feedback, and also feedback volume. In addition to what theme do you want to use?
Action settings.
Action settings, that's related to how CSR should behave in various stuff like gestures and things like that, menu settings and things like that.
Content presentation settings.
Content presentations, that's regarding how Gcho should actually speak, like menus, lists, and things like that, and what should Gcho pronounce.
Notification settings.
Notification settings, it's related to white list and black list, and if Gcho should announce notifications when the screen is logged and things like that, which is definitely very important, and we will definitely talk about that in much more details in the next episode.
Advanced settings.
Advanced settings, which is advanced.
Extensions.
Extensions, that's the thing I've actually mentioned in the beginning when we were talking about downloading things from the cloud and giving it permission.
Plugins and tools.
Plugins and tools, it's another really interesting thing in Gcho.
Download additional resources.
Download additional resources, which here we can get the new versions of FDR, or also we can download plugins, tools, extensions, as well as sound themes and gesture apps and things like that.
Cloud Notes.
Cloud Notes. Here you can actually store your notes if you want. It's like Google Keep and things like that.
Reading mode.
Reading mode.
Accessibility settings.
Accessibility settings, which is pretty much the same one you do have in your device. It's actually here as well, so you can get it from here.
User Center.
User Center, which does have everything from the Telegram group to the WhatsApp group and everything like that.
Help and feedback.
Help and feedback.
Every Technology Company Limited. Commentary screen reader uses some third-party technologies. Tensity AI, Baidu AI, Baidu TTS, Baidu Translator, Baidu MTS, and Rolo Plus, etc.
So here, the collaborators to actually make the screen reader.
Commentary screen reader. 20 million. Email 946049229.
So let's go and set the router up, because I know it's really important to you if you are, a user, or if you've been using Talkback. I know it's really important.
Content presentation settings. Notifications.
So
Content presentation. Action settings.
we will go to action settings apparently.
Action settings. Navigate up button. Action settings.
So action settings.
Gesture theme. Default.
We have the gesture theme. It's default.
Default gesture settings. Gesture description.
Gesture description.
Gesture settings.
Gesture setting.
Grab gesture theme. Configure grab gesture theme. Use the gamer mode. Put the application in the game. Alternative gesture settings.
Okay, so the gamer mode is really important. If you are a gamer, it definitely helps you a lot.
Scrolling settings.
Scrolling setting.
Edge gesture settings.
Edge gesture settings.
Shortcut key settings.
Shortcut keys.
Custom hot theme settings.
Custom hot theme.
Quick action settings.
Quick actions.
Multi-part gesture settings.
Multi-part gestures if you are an Android 11 user.
Fingerprint reader gesture settings.
Fingerprint reader gestures is pretty much as similar to the Talkback.
Other settings.
Other settings.
Navigate up
So
button.
what
Other
we want here is actually
scrolling settings.
scrolling settings.
Scrolling settings. Scrolling settings. Use left right swipes to navigate. Checkbox checked when using the default gesture theme. Change focus with left right swipes. Execute shortcut functions with up down swipes.
Alright, so actually we have checked this in the configuration wizard, if you do remember.
Wrap navigation checkbox checked. Remember the focus position checkbox unchecked.
So this one is very important. I definitely love it. What does it mean is that if you log the screen, if you were browsing a certain website and you log the screen, when you turn the screen back on again, Jisha will directly remember where was the last location your cursor was at, which is definitely really important. I think, well, Talkback does it sometimes, but it doesn't ask you if you want that or not, and that's what I really love about CSR. It's really customizable.
Checked.
I'll check that.
Browse by control on web pages checkbox unchecked.
So actually here, CSR separates the router between web pages and normal browsing. What do I mean is that, for instance, if you're not browsing, like if you're browsing a website, you would get something like links, headings, forms and things like that. But if you're browsing normally your phone, you're on Facebook or anything like that, you definitely won't need those types of things. So CSR separates them. If you're in a web view, it will give you a different type of navigation elements, definitely with additional things that you definitely need on a web page. So I would, if you want this to work, you would check this box.
Checked.
And
select navigation items used on web pages.
After you check this box, you'll find this really amazing dialog. So here you could actually tell CSR what you do want if you're browsing a web view.
Select navigation items used on web page. Select navigation default unchecked.
We have the default, which is the default if you want to browse every single element without any problems.
Checked. Title unchecked.
So we have title. It's supposed to be hidden, but I think it's, well, it could work. So actually this is title. I would definitely check this because if you want to browse headings and things like that.
Checked. Link unchecked.
Links.
Checked.
Button.
Checked. Landmark.
Landmark.
Checked. Edit box unchecked.
Edit box.
Checked. Focusable element unchecked.
Focusable element.
Checked. Control unchecked.
Control.
Checked. Image unchecked.
Image.
Checked. Checkbox unchecked.
Checkbox.
Checked. Combo box unchecked.
Combo box.
Checked. Form file unchecked.
Form file.
Checked. List unchecked.
List.
Checked. List item unchecked.
List item.
Checked.
Scroll.
Checked. View unchecked.
View.
Checked. Character unchecked.
Character.
Checked. Word unchecked.
Word.
Checked. Line unchecked.
Line.
Checked. Hyperlink unchecked. Checked.
That means paragraph, but it's that's a translation mistake, I guess.
Page uncheck.
Page.
Check. Copy uncheck. Page check. Copy uncheck.
Copy. This is really interesting. We'll actually explain this in a while.
Check. Volume uncheck.
Volume. That could change the volume.
Check. Speech rate uncheck.
Speech rate.
Check. Recognition engine uncheck.
Recognition engine, which, as I said, it's only in the premium subscription.
Check. Cancel button. OK button.
And hit OK.
Scrolling settings. Browse by control on web page. Select navigation items used on web pages. Volume. Speech rate. Recognition engine.
So here it gives you what you actually have selected. If we scroll again.
Browse by control type checkbox unchecked. If the gestures conflict occur, please remap the gestures.
So browse by control type. This is in the normal browsing. We have to check this before first.
Check. Select navigation types used in standard views.
Select navigation elements or
Browse. Select navigation types used in standard views.
select navigation types in standard views. So here
Select navigate. Select default unchecked.
we would check default.
Check.
It's pretty much the same, but with items decreased or elements decreased, because in web pages it's definitely more.
Text unchecked.
Text.
Check. Button unchecked.
Button.
Check. Text box unchecked. Check.
Text box.
Image unchecked.
Image.
Check. Checkbox unchecked.
Checkbox.
Check. Progress bar unchecked. Check.
Progress part. We don't have this in the web navigation.
List unchecked.
List.
Check. List item unchecked. Check.
List item.
Focusable element unchecked. Check.
Focusable element.
Clickable element unchecked.
Clickable element.
Check. Note unchecked.
Note.
Check.
We don't have this also in web.
Slider unchecked.
Slider. This as well.
Check. Move vertically unchecked.
Move vertically.
Character unchecked.
I don't like this, so I won't check it. So we have character.
Check. Word unchecked.
Word.
Check. Line unchecked.
Line.
Check.
Paragraph.
Check.
Or it means paragraph.
Page unchecked.
Page.
Check. Copy unchecked.
Copy.
Check. Volume unchecked. Check.
Volume.
Speech rate unchecked. Check.
Speech rate.
Recognition engine unchecked. Check.
And recognition engine.
Cancel button.
So
OK button.
hit
Scrolling settings.
OK.
Checkbox unchecked. Automatically scroll pages. Checkbox unchecked. Automatically scroll to the next page when you reach the end of.
This one is really useful, I guess. So it tells you if you're on a page. Do you want it to scroll without you using the two fingers gestures? Sometimes you want this, so it's definitely pretty useful.
Scrolling settings.
And it's finished. So I want to point something out because I really wasn't familiar to that. Here in CSR, we don't get, like, if the dialogue is finished and we are at the end, it directly takes you to the first item again. It doesn't just stop, and then if you scroll again it would take you to the first item like Talkback does. Which I think sometimes it could be useful and sometimes it can't, so definitely does have advantages and disadvantages as well. So I'm using CSR now. I would definitely show you what this copy miracle thing does and how actually does work. So
Wrap navigation checkbox checked.
here we are focused on something called wrap navigation. If we want to copy it, there are a lot of ways to do that, but we can actually copy it through a really, really easy thing. So we scroll up.
Speech rate.
We have speech rate.
Copy.
And copy. So copy, if we actually swipe to the right, it would say
Message copied.
message copied. So it copied the thing that we are focused on. If we actually swiped left, it would say
Text appended.
text appended. Text appended means it added the last text you wanted to copy to the other thing that you have on, like, in your clipboard already, which is, I think, really useful because I really needed that before, and it wasn't in Talkback, to be honest. Also, I want to point something out here in CSR. If you want to copy something, it will copy the thing that the cursor is focused on. It's not similar as Talkback. Talkback does copy the last thing it was pronounced, or yes, it was pronounced. But here in CSR, it does copy the thing that you're focused on, no matter what actually it said. Before that, doesn't matter, and I think it's very useful. Also, copying the last pronounced things also useful. I don't know if does exist in CSR, but I'm still looking for that and looking that up. We'll see how that goes. So today we actually have talked about how to configure settings and the permissions you would give, and also the rotor, because I know it's very useful to many people. And also we have talked about the settings and the navigation elements and copying process. So in the next episode, we'll go more in details about the settings and every single dialogue of them, and we will see how this screen reader or this monster of screen reader could work, and how it's actually really customizable, as I see. And also we would know, because this is actually our, my goal for this series is actually to get the best out of your screen reader. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do actually have any questions, do feel free to reach out to me or to the whole podcast at contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And I hope you enjoyed this one. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.
In the In Focus section this week, we continue Austin's series on romming, and Austin shows us how to install a custom ROM on a device running a single partition.
Okay, so everyone, we have now installed the recovery, and now it is time to do the final step, and that is install the ROM. So first things, some things to keep in mind. After you install the recovery, you have to get sighted help to allow system modification. Sometimes, or most of the times I should say, newer devices have the data partition encrypted by default. So to decrypt that, you will have to either flash a decrypt.zip made by your device's developer, not the OEM, but your device's XDA developers of your device. So that should be generally in the thread that says unlock bootloader, install TWRP, and so on. Or if you don't find it, there is a universal decryptor zip, which I will link in the show notes. So for this show, it's very important that you go into our website, and I'll give you that at the end of the podcast, and to our website and see our show notes, because all the links will be in the show notes. So you download that universal decryptor zip, and you don't change the name of that zip. You flash the zip as is. Now to flash zips, you will do the following, and I'll tell you the option, and I'll then explain to you once you flash the ROM. So you connect your phone to the PC, and where you install ADB, where you extracted the platform tools, there you have to open PowerShell or CMD, whatever you have. You open that, and your phone should be in recovery now. So you type ADB shell and hit enter, ADB space shell and hit enter there. Then type TWRP space install space the name of the zip. Now for the universal decryptor zip, it is very important that you keep the name of the zip as is, because the installer does whatever is in the name of the zip. So the name of the zip will contain something like force encrypt, disable DM verity, and all this something it will contain. So you have to keep the name of the zip as is. So you flash that. Once you flash that, then you reboot into recovery, and you are good to go. Another thing to keep in mind, now this is mostly only for, I have seen this on A-only devices. The developers of TWRP, they don't enable MTP. Now MTP is what helps you to transfer files from your computer to your phone. So if MTP is not enabled, you will not see your phone storage in your computer. So what you would want to do is, you would want to go to system, you would want to boot into your Android, enable file transfer there, transfer all the ROM package, the GApps package and everything there, and then boot into recovery, and then we are ready to flash. So what I have done, I have allowed system modification. I have also disabled the DMVerity and encryption on my phone. So, and I've copied the Pixel Experience unofficial build. Now I'm flashing unofficial because I am experienced in roaming and this is not my primary device, so even if there are bugs, it's okay. But you will have to flash the official, or if you don't have any other option and you think that unofficial does not have bugs, you have read the threads, then flash unofficial. This Pixel Experience comes with GApps built in, so I don't need to copy GApps. And I'm not going to copy Magisk or anything. That's a fourth episode on how to root your device. So let's get started with the flash. I'm going to open the PowerShell.
Left D, download. Items view D, platform tools 2 of 109. Content open, recognize, open a new Pinto, recognize, open PowerShell window here S.
Yeah.
C, Windows System 32, Windows PowerShell v1.0 power.
So I'm going to type // adb space shell
SAELL Sussex 00TD /number.
Okay, so now we are in our ADB shell. What is the first command? Is we are going to wipe everything. So I'm typing here TWRP space wipe
IPE space
system.
SYSTEM.
Sometimes this command may fail. I have not pressed enter yet. I'm just giving an explanation. Sometimes this command may fail. And if it fails, you need to type TWRP space wipe space /system. Not the backslash, the / system. And that will work. I hope it works now.
Formatting system using B2FS. Done processing script file. Sussex 00TD /
So now our phone is without any Android version, and if you try to reboot now, you will get a warning on TWRP that no OS is installed. Do you wish to continue? And if you still continue, you will get a boot loop. You might go back into TWRP or you might go back into fast boot. Okay, one partition is wiped. Now second partition. And all these commands are only on A-only devices. I will tell you when the commands apply to A-B devices. Now, what is A-only? What is A-B? For that, you have to listen to the first part of the podcast. So the second command.
Dot.
No, that's wrong.
Dot. 5.
Oh no, I can't type today, I think.
TWRP space IPE space DATA.
This applies to both.
Formatting cache using B2FS. Done. Formatting data using B2FS. Done processing script file.
So you saw that it took a long time. And this also shows that our data has been decrypted. Otherwise, it would fail. Now the next command is only for A-only devices.
TWRP space IPE space DALVIK. Wiping cache and Dalvik cache directories wipe complete. Done processing script file. Sussex 00TD.
Now we are ready to do the all-important flash. Now, before you copy the ROM package to your phone, I would suggest that you rename the zip. So Pixel Experience had a long name, date, string, full attached to the name. So I just renamed it to pe.zip. And for OpenGApps also, it will have a long name, although OpenGApps is not required today. But if it has a long name, I would rename it to gaps.zip. Magisk, if it has a long name, I would rename it to something with a more shorter name like root.zip or something. This will help you to flash the zip properly on your phone, because copy paste option does not work in ADB shell. So let's flash the ROM.
DRE space INSTALL space PE dot ZIP.
And hit enter. And once you hit enter, whatever is happening on your phone screen will be also outputted to your computer. So you will be able to hear your TTS read what is happening on your phone screen.
Installing zip file / external SD / p.zip. Installing zip file / external SD / p.zip. Checking for digest file. Unmounting system.
So this process, it takes some time. Don't worry. It takes a long time. This is a big file and it's an old device, so it has to decompress the file and all that. So it is going to take a long time. You said unmounting system. Now let's see what happens next. You don't want to unplug your phone or turn your phone off at this point. Also, one more point to keep in mind, although this will charge your phone, but when you start the process, you need to have a full charged battery or at minimum a 30% charged battery. So this is taking time, and I'm not going to edit this part of the podcast out because I want to show you how much time it takes. That is why these ROM flashing podcasts are so long, because most of the things cannot be edited, otherwise it look like I have done some polishing up here. But I have not done any polishing, and I hope Goldwave does
Checking
not.
for modem
Okay.
build timestamp 2020-040718:5706 pixel reload. Added by Swamo Android version 11 builded RQ1A.200.1205.010b. Cool date 20,201,224.0902 security patch 2020-12-05 device X00T patch in S. System image unconditionally. Patching vendor image unconditionally. Script succeeded. Result was 1.00000 done process. Sync script file. Asus X00TD/number.
And we are done. The ROM has been installed. So it's time to boot up your phone and enjoy Android 11. So to boot your phone up, you will type exit here.
EXIT PSC user
Okay.
Dusty downloads platform tool.
Now you type
Dot
// ADB space
REBOOT PSC users Dusty downloads platform tools greater.
This phone had come with Android 9 before flashing the ROM, and I've got it to Android 11. Wow, that is a big step. It jumped over Android 10. So this will take time, and I hope it does not break, because sometimes, although you have done everything correctly, things tend to break sometimes. But it does not look like, because otherwise you would hear a USB connect sound. But I think it is initializing, and I will wait for some time. You don't want to hurry now, because otherwise you may start going into recovery. So I'll just give it a 30-second window, and then I will try to start Talkback. And it does not take 30 seconds. This takes a long time, because you are replacing Android. You're replacing... Oh yeah, so it initialized.
New notification from Autoplay.
Yes,
Zenfone Max Pro.
it has initialized. What a joy. What a complete joy. So the phone has booted, and we are going to have Talkback up in a short while. I'm going to still give it some time. But as you heard, the new notification autoplay Zenfone M1 Pro detected. That means the phone has booted. Otherwise, this version of TWRP had disabled MTP, and to enable MTP, if you have sighted help, you would want to click on mount and then click on enable MTP there. Sometimes this stays across reboots, sometimes this does not stay across reboots, and in this instance of TWRP, it did not stay across reboots, so I had to enable it each time. So that's why I copied the files before I could come on the recording. So we are ready now to start Talkback, and let's see what happens. Will Talkback start, or will it not start? I think it will start, definitely, unless Talkback is not included with this ROM. Let's see.
Press and hold both volume keys for 3 seconds to use Talkback.
Okay. Let's try it again. It said that press and hold volume keys to for both seconds to enable Talkback. So let's try again.
Talkback on. Talkback is a screen reader
And
primarily for people
if you
with
can
blindness and
hear,
low vision. It allows interaction with the device using
Talkback
spoken
has
feedback.
started.
Talkback tutorial.
Wow, what a joy. So, I was telling you that setup from here is as usual as setting up your new device, or if you have factory resetted your device, then setting it up is as usual as that. This is the end of the section on A-only partition devices. In next week's section, we will do how to ROM an A/B device, which is a little complicated. But before that, I will show you how to root your device.
Excellent. Thanks very much, Austin. A fascinating series, this, and I still want to ROM my Nexus 4. So I think I'll wait till you've recorded all the episodes, and then I shall listen back and I've got all the information in one place.
I will have the Mongolian minister baptize my Nexus 6 into maybe Android 11 or something crazy like that.
I think that sounds like good fun. Now we have our App of the Week section, and this comes to us courtesy of Karine Kiwan, who is going to demonstrate Turbo Alarm.
Hello everybody, this is Karine Kiwan. I'm going to talk about some of the features of Turbo Alarm Clock, which is my favorite alarm clock application. I think I'm using this one since more than 7 years. The app is free, but you can subscribe to the pro version to add some more features. I'm using the free one.
Root Turbo Alarm. Turbo Alarm. No alarms.
When you launch the app for the first time, it will ask you to exclude it from battery optimizations, and that is necessary to prevent delaying alarms or sometimes missing ones.
Open drawer button. Order.
Okay, so I'm in the alarms list section. I will go to the drawer. I can swipe to it, and I can press or touch on the top of the screen at the left.
Open drawer button.
Okay.
Menu.
I'm here in the drawer.
Invite friend. Ticked alarm list. Stopwatch. Timer. Pro. Night clock. More options. Settings. App health. Cloud.
Cloud is also like the timer. It's a pro feature. It's related to the backup of alarms and settings and multi-device support. And I can become a pro.
Become a pro.
Here.
App health.
App health.
Not ticked.
Here, if there is any issue in the app that will prevent it from working properly, it will be shown here.
List. 1 ignores permission. Everything should work correctly, but if you are experiencing some problems, please contact us. 1 current status. You are doing great.
Okay, I have no issues. And I'm back in the alarms list. I will add an alarm. You can also find it on the right side, nearly at the bottom of the screen.
Add alarm button. Select time.
Okay, I will
switch to text input mode for the time
input.
Cancel button. Hour. Not. Edit box for hour. Showing number keyboard. Dot. 8. 0.
Let's have it on
0. 8. 8. Max. Showing number keyboard. 3. Board. 3. 3. 3.
33. And okay.
Okay. 3. Okay. Button. Alarm set for 21 hours and 35 minutes. Alarm detail. Specific date.
Okay, I can have it to start ringing on a specific date, like the 8th of June, let's say.
Test now. More options. Button. Selected. Alarm clock. Add tag. 8:33. On. Enable. Tomorrow.
Okay, it will ring tomorrow.
Monday inactive.
Here I'm having the days of the week. So if I just keep them inactive, all of them not active, what will happen is that it will just ring tomorrow, and it will become a non-repetitive alarm. So it will be off after that.
Tuesday inactive. Alarm disabled. Wednesday inactive. Tuesday active.
I activated Tuesday, so now it will start ringing on next Tuesday, and it will ring on Tuesday each week.
Wednesday inactive. Thursday inactive. Some melody. Alarms greater than.
Melody. Alarms here.
Basic
I will press
ringtone.
on that.
Basic ring. Song.
I have basic ringtone, song,
Songs folder.
and songs folder. Here I can guide the app to a specific folder. In that folder I'm putting audio tracks. It will randomly play one of them each time the alarm rings. So, and before it told me that alarms. So what I was doing that I'm using the alarms folder to choose from. The app chooses from the alarms folder. Let's press on that.
/story. Movies, font, audio _app, Android, less than, alarms, less than directed rate, time, less than direct.
Okay, I can choose
Basic
one.
ringtone, songs folder, playlist.
And I have a playlist. I can add a playlist to the playlists folder and the app can see it, and also it will play the tracks randomly.
Spotify, Pro.
Spotify is a pro feature. Going back.
Alarm detail, alarms, greater than, volume, 100%, slider, incremental sound, on, switch.
Incremental, so the app will, or the alarm will start ringing on a lower volume and then it will be increased gradually to reach the maximum one.
Vibration, on, simulate sunrise, off, cancel action, drop down, pop-up window, draw square, draw a triangle, shake device.
I'm not sure about drawing, if it's accessible or not. I didn't use it.
Switch room light on.
Okay, switching the lights on.
Long press on screen.
Double tap and the long press should work.
Touch screen. Slide ball. Small button. Ticked. Big button. Slide bar. Step counter.
If I take the device and walk, and I can select the number of steps to turn off the alarm.
Volume buttons.
Will not work with Talkback.
Random.
The volume and random. Okay, I always use the buttons.
Alarm detail. Drop. Snooze action. Drop down menu. Small button. Stop after. Never greater than.
Okay, when the ringing will stop if I didn't do anything, if I don't do anything, like if I don't dismiss it or snooze it.
Minigame. Puzzle. Drop down menu. Disabled.
Not accessible.
Camera flash. Drop down. What's this? Movement detector.
Okay, if it detects a movement, like if I carry the device, if it turn down the volume or silence the alarm.
Drop down menu. Disabled. What's this? Button.
This is interesting, although I don't use it.
Anti-sleep ahead. If the alarm is ringing for a few minutes without being cancelled, an annoying ringtone start ringing at maximum volume and also with a fast vibration pattern. Don't show. OK. Button.
Okay.
Alarm detail.
This is the
anti-sleep ahead.
Anti-sleepy head. And
off switch. What's this? Security alarm.
Security alarm. If I grant the permission, the location permission to the app, after some time that is configurable, the app, the app detects that I'm still at home, it will ring again, and I configured the next alarm how it will ring.
Off switch.
Okay, so I will test the alarm right now.
8. More options, but test now. More options, test now. Alarm ringing. Alarm clock. 11:03. Snooze alarm button. Cancel alarm button.
I pressed on
alarm detail. Test now.
I pressed on
notification shade.
Cancel alarm.
11:03.
It took some time. I don't know why. Anyway, I'm using the beta version.
Alarm detail. Test now.
Usually it doesn't do such thing. Okay, so
more option. Test now.
Okay, I will go back.
Turbo alarm. Add alarm button.
So the alarm is added.
On 1 option. Not ticked. Alarm clock. 8:33 Tuesday. Options 1. Pop-up window.
I can
delete
it.
Duplicate.
Modify
next.
Modify the next alarm. Only the next one.
Skip next alarm.
Skip only the next one, like the next Tuesday.
Cancel skip days.
And I can cancel the skip days. Okay, I will
duplicate.
Delete it.
Delete. The alarm has been deleted. Undo button.
Okay.
Turbo alarm. No alarms.
So what else? Let's see some of the settings quickly.
Undo.
Okay, I can undo
button. No alarms.
Deletion.
More options button. Order. Open drawer. Menu. Become a pro. App health. Night stopwatch. Timer. Night clock. More options. Settings. General alarm settings. Default. Appearance.
Okay, in the appearance, I want to show you just the time picker.
Shape. Rounded. Alarm list header. Clock font. Digital. Highlight next alarm. Time picker type. Modern rate. Time picker type. Ticked. Modern radio.
The one that I'm using is the modern radial, and you have the text input mode in that one.
System.
You have the system.
Number pad.
Number pad is also workable. It's accessible, considered accessible.
Grid.
Grid, not accessible.
Classic radio.
Classic radial also.
Cancel button.
And okay, so those are the
Turbo
available
alarm.
ones.
Time picker type. Alarm heading.
Okay, so I will go back.
Settings. Navigate. Security alarm. General alarm setting. New alarm configure. Default values. New alarm configuration.
Okay,
Configure the weight, vibration,
default
sound.
configuration of
Alarms
a
are
new-
created by
when
default.
when I'm adding a new alarm.
Ring mode heading.
Okay, I'm having the.
Increment volume length 60 seconds.
Okay, how much time it will need to reach the maximum volume?
Vibration type. Relaxed vibration.
Vibration type.
Vibration delay 3 seconds.
After what time the ring or the app will start, the device will start vibrating, so I can have it.
Choose action. 2 button. 3 edit box.
Okay, and
2
I can
button.
change it.
Turbo alarm.
accessibly.
Vibration delay 3 seconds. Vibrate after cancelling. Vibration to confirm alarm. Snooze alarm heading. Snooze length. When snoozing, the alarm rings again after 2 minutes. Decremental snooze interval. Decreasing snooze interval. Ticked. Tick box. Limit number of snoozes. Unlimited snooze. Talking alarm heading. What to say. Things to say after the alarm is finished. What to say. Day of week. Time. Weather. Alarm label. Temperature. Cancel button. Turbo. When to say. When talking alarm will talk.
Okay, while it's ringing, when it's snoozed, when it's dismissed.
Others heading. Delete after ringing non-repetitive alarms. Alarms are not deleted after ringing, not ticked. Anti-sleepyhead delay 7 minutes.
Okay, the time of anti-sleepyhead.
Steps to give. 10 steps are needed to finalize the alarm.
Steps to give. Okay, so I'll see.
Appearance
what's
general
working
alarm.
here.
Improve night security alarm. Learn how. General alarm. Night mode. Advanced
In
config.
the advanced,
Navig. Temperature unit. Display. Weather heading.
I can add the weather.
Temperature unit. Displays temperature in either Celsius or Fahrenheit. Weather location. Weather location determined by GPS.
Okay, I can just add my location manually also.
Advanced settings heading.
I hope that this app will be useful for some at least, and thank you for listening.
And finally, we stay with Karine, who brings us her My Android journey.
Hi. Deciding to buy an Android phone to use it as your daily driver back in 2012 when you are a blind person was considered for some, at least in my area, like you are deciding to throw your money into the trash can. But I did buy my first Android device in December 2012, which was a Galaxy Nexus. I was coming from a Nokia C6 that was having a touch screen, so I was familiar with the gestures, the angular gestures, because I was using Mobile Speak, and Mobile Speak uses those gestures in one of its modes, so I was familiar with them. So that wasn't a problem for me. But the problem was, or the start of my journey started with something strange, which was the Galaxy Nexus I bought when I started that device up. What I found that I was having a device with a custom ROM. Not only a custom ROM, that ROM was without any Google service. So in fact, I was buying a Google device, but the only Google related thing that is present in that device is the Google naming on its back. So that was shocking for me. But I didn't return it back, thanks God, because I was having the help of a cousin that he is an expert in things related to custom ROMs, and that was his real hobby at that time. So he was just like finding that my device was the device he was searching for to do his experiments. So, because I was interested in trying that new thing that I don't know about. So we just went in experimenting custom ROMs, and I can say that I was introduced to cyanogen mode and routing in my first Android days. The first Android version that I used was Android 4.2, and at that time, you can say that Google's Talkback was starting to become a thing. You can just rely on it to do some tasks, and the basic tasks were all doable. So that was a good start for me. But the problem or my issue was lying in that I was not knowing where to find resources online about screen reader thing and Android accessibility. And also I was not having any blind friend or any blind person that I know that's having an Android device. So yeah, it's uniqueness, and you like it as a person that's having the only Android device between the people you know, blind people you know. But it came with its own problems. As I said, the resources were not widely available, and if sometimes you want an accessible application to do something, or you want just a workaround for an issue, you just have to do it on your own and to try, test apps, test solutions, search, and spend hours sometimes searching for something. And but I can say something that, for me at least, the joy, the excitement, the happiness that you will feel after finding a solution or finding an accessible app will be something that deserves all the effort put in it, because you feel like you did something. And that gave me experience, that gave me that led to learn new things, to learn more about Android. And I can say that after my early success, and when I started to deal more confidently with Android, I started to urge others to just use it and just try it, and to experience the freedom, the openness, the customization options available in it. So I was wanting everyone to have my same experience, my same feelings, but and I can say that I was just against buying an iPhone, and I was just trying to convince all people that I know that just go with Android. And when someone will just tell me that, well, accessibility is better in iPhone, I just say, okay, but you should sacrifice that accessibility to gain the freedom and the options that are available in Android. Now I'm more logical. I can say I'm a different person right now. I'm more realistic. I just sometimes tell others to go for an iPhone, because what is working for me doesn't mean that it will work for others, and what I like doesn't translate to what people will like. So people are different, and what's important to just put your experience, the facts that you know, in front of others, and then others should decide themselves what to do, what they want to experience, and what they want to use. And well, I wrote some articles about Android on a blind related website that was in Arabic. I was a member of, and then I was introduced, or I just knew about ISO3 because it was a requirement to be a member of the Talkback beta. And now we are all forced out of the beta because we are not US residents. But then it was the requirement to be in the beta, so I just joined it. And then I was just realizing that there are many people blind using Android successfully, and who are just able to give their knowledge to others and to talk about their experiences and to discuss them. So that was a great thing for me. And I started posting there. Maybe some people are just knowing about my posts. And since my early Android days, I was a person that was willing to send to developers about accessibility things. And I just had some success at my first attempts. So that was something that was encouraging me so much to do it more and more. And now it's something that I'm totally convinced about, and I try to convince others about it as well, because sometimes you just need to send a single email to a developer just to let him just pay attention to accessibility, and you feel like that person didn't include accessibility stuff before because he was maybe not thinking about it, or he didn't know about it. So just by your single email, you were able to make this app accessible, to help in making this app accessible, and to just benefit others from that, and to let devs be more aware about accessibility stuff. So I urge others, everyone who is able to do it, if someone is having some language skills and some knowledge about Android, should do that and should help in sending about accessibility stuff, and just in sending feedback to every app developer about every problem that you may face, about the screen reader, about everything, because feedback is always vital. And yeah, you may sometimes feel you are ignored, or you just tried and no one responded, or no one just solved the problem, but you should just try, and trying is the most important part in that. You don't know when you will be successful. And well, I'm also known for being the person who changed TTS engines a lot, and who likes to just go for different voices, and I get bored quickly, so maybe I will spend one day with that voice and then switch back to another, and like that. So but right now, even if someone is going to tell me that there is a new TTS engine that's having a human-like voice, which is a good quality voice, and it's in Arabic or British accent, British English accent, I will right now go and try that TTS engine. And I feel that people know me, maybe from my posts, and I post sometimes about apps. I try sometimes to help others, because we should all just to cooperate together. And about my phones, I had the Galaxy Nexus, I had an Nexus 5, I had Sony Xperia Z1 Compact, and then 2 Huawei phones, and now I'm with Samsung just because Samsung is, or Huawei is not having a real future in smartphone market, as I think, especially without those Google services. And Samsung is giving the 300 updates promise, so that was my best thing available. And that was my Android journey. I hope that you didn't get bored listening to it, and thank you. In Arabic, we just say shukran.
Thanks very much, Karine. Austin, to close the podcast, can you tell everyone where they can find us?
So to find us, you can send us an email at contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you have any questions, comments, anything, some feedback, any submissions for the podcast, you can submit it there. You can go to our website, blindandroidusers.com. You can subscribe to our mailing list by sending an email to blindandroidusers plus subscribe@groups.io. And you can subscribe to our Telegram group, which is over 110 members from different countries. It's become a very global group and a lot of conversations there. By clicking the link that will be in the show notes, you can follow us on Twitter by searching for Blind Droid Users, and the link to our profile will also be in the show notes. And don't forget the feast of content on the YouTube page, on the channel. You can go there, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and then you can get notified whenever we release a new content. And also one request, that when you see the content, you should also read the show notes, because a lot of information is put in the show notes and you can follow along with the content.
Thanks, Austin. Yes, definitely read the show notes, because I spend hours writing those. So do read them.
So actually make its job worth it, because if you're spending all this time and putting all that info in there, you want to make sure that you get all of that info, so you know where to go to get a particular thing, most especially like apps or URLs for certain things. If you don't read those show notes, you're not going to find those.
Thanks very much, everyone, and thank you to you all for listening. See you next week.
See you next week.
Adios. And that has been another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. As always, we appreciate hearing from you. You send those email messages to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. For those My Android Journey stories, we encourage you to send those to myandroidjourney@blindandroidusers.com. Until we see you in our next episode, you have a wonderful day.